Jimmy McAleod found the net. Goal for Wednesday.
Terrific goal by Shayna.
Chris Waddle, is he going to have a crack?
Oh, he does, and it's goal. Still Glenn Wheeler. Aidan Fred wins the goal. It's the goal.
Is there time for a winner?
Heart, battle, desire, an 8-hour round trip, and Henrik's men and boys return from the South Coast with all 3 points. Hello and welcome to Wednesday Tie-Dye Podcast. I'm James Mappin. Alongside me this evening is Mr. Matt Johnson. Matt, is anything better than 3 points away?
No, sorry, just enjoyed my Sheffield double there. No, mate, no. That is the only thing that makes that 3 points all the sweeter. Is the prom queen's homecoming was ruined down the lane as well. So, yeah, it was really, really good day. Again, I think I was fairly open in the fact that I didn't anticipate the result yesterday. And I think we were fairly honest and open last week when we were discussing things, James, talking about I don't know where the next win's going to come from, couldn't see it. Yeah, what a performance yesterday. What a performance.
Matt, next win, I couldn't even see where the next goal was going to come from, let alone... Yeah. Shot on target would have been nice, you know, given the last 2 games that we've had. But just absolutely blown away with the performance. When we will come on to it, obviously, but the battling that they did, showing that desire to win a game, and Henrik having got his tactics absolutely wrong, so wrong last week. They got on. Well, it was absolutely spot on this time around. Obviously, we are going to be talking about the win. 2-0 win down at Portsmouth. Of course, we are, like I said, tactics, how Henrik got it right. The kids who got a chance and took it with both hands as well, by the way. Valerie in the 6, we'll talk about that. Obviously we're under another embargo, so it's not all plain sailing. This can't be a Sheffield Wednesday podcast without talking about something that's kind of gone wrong. Or maybe it's gone right, whichever way you want to look at it in the past week or so. We are going to be talking on extra time after this show as well about kind of, whether this win changes anything when it comes to Day Ponchansiri and the protests and stuff like that. Matt, I know you've got quite strong views on that as well. So head over to patreon.com/WTID pod if you want to listen to that one. Make sure you're North Stand tier member and you can listen to that straight after this show. There's loads of people in the comments. John says, all aboard, mind the gap. Daniel, so proud to be an Owl. What a performance. And of course, mind the gap, Sheffield United. James says the gap is bigger than the space between Wilder's ears. Daniel, still above the Blades. Love to see it. Green Fingers, great performance yesterday. I am born and bred in Southampton, so to almost play them off the park the majority of the time when Saints couldn't add to the win. Up the Owls, we're all Wednesday, aren't we? Chris is in the house. We've got Matt Richards. Evening, didn't think I'd see a Sheffield double this season. Made up the Owls. Doug, Blunt's to win 2 games to go above us now. Did Liam. So this is what a win feels like. Yes, we could have quite easily forgotten what a Sheffield Wednesday win looks like. And I was worrying that Cisco Munoz, his record would be beaten. But alas, it hasn't. We have, of course, got that win. Matt, let's talk about the away day then, because you, of course, made that long trip down. I mean, it's slightly closer for you, being down in the Midlands. But before we talk about the day in itself and how, and what you got up to, what was that atmosphere like in that away end?
It was quite emotional at the end of the game. Like throughout we'll come on to obviously discuss it later when we get onto kind of like Hillsborough and the home fan stuff, obviously. But I think the atmosphere in the away end yesterday was kind of what you expect, but it was. Do you remember the first 20 minutes at Leicester when we obviously took the lead, and there was that tingling excitement that was ringing round kind of like a fan base. The only difference was you actually thought we might hold on to this. Whereas Leicester, I remember been having a conversation with a couple of people at half time and just been like, this is so unexpected. I don't think that we're going to be able to hold on to this, because Leicester were all over us. Whereas actually, I thought yesterday it was, there was a constant backing that you always get away from home, but the feeling of nervousness, even with like 6 minutes left to go. I think it was Dan Fudge, obviously, of the Wednesday week, caught me a good one on X yesterday.
I've seen it, yeah.
Like, there's me biting my fingernails. It's a good job my fingers are so long. I've got plenty left to chew. But he was saying, oh, were you nervous? And I'm thinking, I turned around to the bloke next to me with 3 minutes to go, and I'm going, oh, it was one of their 700 million corners that they had. And I just went, if they score here, this is going to go, this could turn very quickly. And it was really weird, because you were able to focus on being nervous about, are you able to hold on to a 2-0 lead? Rather than just being like, well, this is shit, we might as well just enjoy the day. It was great. And the scenes at full time were, I haven't seen that much emotion displayed from an away fan base since probably Blackburn away in the Great Escape season. It was quite something yesterday. It was really special.
I must admit, I saw some of the videos and stuff, some of the fan videos, some of the stuff that you put on Instagram as well. And I kind of had that same feeling, when you're seeing people with the shirts off, swinging the shirts above their head, and, Barry Bannan coming over, and you could see definitely what it meant to him. Pedersen getting getting the chants and the shouts and stuff. And it just shows you kind of what Sheffield Wednesday is all about throughout the whole kind of the shit that we're going through at the moment with the owner and things, and how, we're thinking we're not going to get a win. We're not even going to score a goal. This is going to be like the worst season that we've ever had in history. But then to show that, they can do it and they can pull through in the way that they did. And the performance was, I don't think they could have done anything else any better, to be honest. In terms of being down there at Portsmouth, there was a hell of a lot of black and yellow scarves, weren't there? I mean, for those wondering as well, I did put some on Friday on the Wednesday Tie-Dye shop, which went in about an hour and 10 minutes. They'd all gone. There was 100 that I put on, and they literally just disappeared. They absolutely vanished. And I've had so many messages saying, they're sold out when you're getting more. The trust can't make them quick enough. Obviously, they're not making them. They're not there like sat knitting. Do you know what I mean? Ian's not sat there like that. Ian Bennett sat in corner of his room, like, knitting a few scarves. Like, the place that they're making them can't make them quick enough for them. So I think they're getting them in like 1,000 batches every time. But obviously, they need to have enough for down at Portsmouth. I think they're all in some of the boozers as well. I think New Barrack have got them in there. I think they've got them in the Park Hotel as well, so you can get them from there. But they're just selling out like, immediately. I think Wednesday Warehouse have got something. They've already sold out today. They had a box of 100 and they've all disappeared. So yeah, I'll try and get some more, but I've also got to pack and post the 100 that Jake dropped off to me earlier today, which is going to be a task in itself. I thought I'll do them on in-post lockers. I can do that. That's easy. I can just take them and I can just pop them in there. There's not 60 spaces in the lockers to get all the I think there was about 60 or 70 orders for 100 scarves. I could be making quite a few trips going back and forwards between there. But anyway, they will be selling them at the various places outside Hillsborough when we're there next Saturday for the QPR game. So if you want one, go and grab one. But there was a lot, weren't there, in that away end?
Yeah, I spoke to Jake and Ian from the Trust beforehand. I spoke to Jake at half-time. They looked like they had been worked very hard pre-game. Jake had actually roped his 6-year-old son for his first ever away day. Here, get on that corner and shift some boxes of these, Lynn. I think his hard labour earned him a lukewarm sausage roll at half-time. So, yeah, it's proper graft. But and genuinely, this little... The movement of it is proper... Roy of the Rovers stuff type of thing. It's very grassroots. It all feels very...
Hey, Roy of the Rovers didn't have a card machine.
No, I don't. No, you're right. I think the other thing is, James, here, what has worked well best in terms of the protests, and it's been things like the boycott for the cup games, it's been the yellow posters, it's been the boycott of buying things within the stadium. It's easy, it's something that is very visual and very visible, and this is a great example of that. The away end, I think there was, I can't remember who it was, it might have been Rob Staten who put it up, of the 10th minute when everybody held the scarves up and the Pompey fans all stood and applauded and clapped and were joining in with kind of like singing and stuff like that. It was, I mean, you couldn't see the pitch from my vantage point for black and gold scarves. It's whatever they're doing over there, it is working. It is working. I think if you are desperate to get your hands on one, please make sure you get down there early next week. If you're still without one and desperate to get your hands on one, I would suggest getting down there as early as possible. And Peter as well was down there yesterday with his lad, and they were shifting copies of Everywhere and Nowhere, and they were absolutely ram busy as well. So it's nice, James, that all of this stuff that is fan-led is picking up massive traction, if that makes sense, and is something that fans are. We know we're willing to spend the money on things. We know we're willing to buy anything that's associated to Sheffield Wednesday, but for two really different causes, but also two really worthwhile things to spend your money on. I'm thrilled for everybody who's involved in it. I really am.
Yeah, I'm going to read some more comments out. Matt says, buzzing for this. I can't help feel it, but I can't help but feeling negative. This makes more fans turn up for the next home game and gives DC more money. A win feels bad, and that's not how it should be. I won't be happy until DC goes. Yeah, we're going to be talking about that on Extra Time, Matt, as well. Matt Richards, another Matt, too many of them. He says,
Shit name.
When was the last Horvath clean sheet? I looked this up, actually. Someone mentioned this on the watch along, and I looked it up. It was the penultimate game of last season, so it wasn't that long ago, actually, to be fair. When he was, I think, against West Brom, I want to say. John says, we've had all September's shots in one game. Yeah, it did feel like that. Nat says, even Valerie looked decent. Unbelievable, Jeff. We're going to be talking about him and his role in the six as well. Scott says every one of them were excellent, but Valerie looked quality in that role. Mark, evening fellas. What an emotional win. It really got to me, and what a performance from the young lads. What about the day in itself then, Matt? I mean, I know you did a kind of day in the life or a bit of a match day special, however you want to spin it, which Patreon members can listen to after today, which is a good listen. But you went from the birds in the garden to the Chancery out chance in the away end at Fratton Park. But Matt, what about the day in itself? Because you said to me just before we came on that Portsmouth is a bit of a weird away day, isn't it?
Yeah, it is strange. It's so far that even actually for like a 3 o'clock kickoff, loads of people don't arrive into Portsmouth until around like midday. Whereas like a London away day, if you set off at 6, 7 o'clock from Sheffield, you're there in plenty of time before. And, we've got one coming up in a month's time at Charlton, and that usually gets going from about 10 o'clock in the morning. And he's, going from the Midlands, like you're down there for like 9:30, 10 o'clock. You get in and around places, it starts filling up gradually. And there's a real atmosphere that builds. Portsmouth so far that you can tell people who have either set off at stupid o'clock in the morning to get there, because they're knackered or still pissed, as we found a group of people in the pub that we were in from the night before, or people start arriving, an hour and a half before kickoff. And there's one away pub at Portsmouth for those people who haven't been, and it's a mixed pub, and you don't quite get that atmosphere that you do get when it is just designated away fans, which you do get at certain grounds. One thing that I would say is the ground is great. In my opinion, Portsmouth don't pretend to be somebody or something that they're not. I felt when I've gone to places like Wigan in our past, like, what are you doing with this? Like, what on earth are you doing with this type of estate? Like, we visit so many soulless bowls as a Sheffield Wednesday fan, and it's one of my. I'm really reticent about moving away from Hillsborough because I like the fact that Hillsborough's full of character.
There's so many of them soulless bowls, isn't it? If you think Derby, Middlesbrough, Southampton, who else have got one in This is far too much.
I mean, MK Dons is your prime example. MK Dons is your prime example.
Coventry have got another one that's like that as well.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, they're nice stadiums and all of the facilities are modern-ish, but they're not like, they don't inspire anything from you, and it's up to you as fans to. I'm thinking particularly at Coventry here, and I know there'll be some Coventry podcasts that will clip this and be like, "Oh, look at this rivalry they've started with us. It's not us, it's them," because they want a rivalry with anyone. It's up to fans to have like a little ultras section, and there's like to create some sort of an atmosphere. Whereas at Fratton Park, the nostalgia just hits you as you're walking down, and like you look at the away end and you're like, oh my God, this is, I mean, I wouldn't want to be stood in here in December when it's pissing it down because there's no roof on the away concourse. It's just really, really well done. I enjoyed the ground, and it gives you that proper feel of, like you've used kind of shit, like you've used not like absolutely perfect, like they've installed safe standing. There's another ground that have done it. I'm still waiting for ours. It's just really, really well done. And they know exactly who they are as a club, and they don't pretend to be anything else. So yeah, they get a lot of time for me, Portsmouth.
Yeah, let's get into the match then. As before I do, thank you to everyone that did tune into the watch along yesterday. Really appreciate it. Started doing those. We did one for the Grimsby game in midweek. Did one for yesterday. So yeah, if people want me to do that, and I think people that were in there did enjoy it. I got a little bit excited when Brown scored that goal. I have to admit, if you haven't seen the clip, I did clip it up and I've put it on X, so you can go and watch that. More than animated. I think the roof came off my house, let alone Fratton Park when that one went in. But yeah, I'll be doing them for the away games. So yeah, make sure you tune in. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, because that's where it's going to be. And I had a good laugh, to be fair, even though it was 3 hours. It's a long slog when you think about it. 3 hours of non-stop talking, which is pretty much no real breaks in there, which is but it was good. Anyway, let's talk about the match then. We always start
James, just before you dive into it, do we have to do the caveat this week or not? Are we leaving that for this week?
We can leave it. I think nobody had a shit performance though, did they? Like literally,
no, not at all.
Not one of them. Even Dom Iorfa put a good shift in, which is he's come under some criticism, but no, every single one of them were absolutely fantastic. So no caveats this week whatsoever.
It's just a rarity, James. I just thought I'd ask. That's all.
I know, mate. I might just have on this little ticker underneath. I might just have it on there just so I don't have to say it every single week. In terms of the lineup, then I'll just quickly whiz through it. Horvath, Iorfa, Weaver, Maxlow, Palmer, Valerie, Bannan, Ingleson, Amas, Brown, and Cadamartri. So it was 3 changes. Out went Otubeyo, Ugbo, and McNeil. In came Weaver, Cadamartri, and Brown as well. In terms of the starting lineup, Matt, I have to say, even though this is kind of what I wanted, I kind of mooted earlier on. I think we said it on the debate show in midweek as well, how I feel like they should be getting a chance. We said it last week. You said like this is we need to start making changes now. Some of these lads need to start coming into the first team. Even though we said it and I wanted it, I didn't actually think it would happen. Given that they played either 90 minutes or the vast majority of the game in midweek against Grimsby, I didn't think he would have then chucked them in, even though as a professional footballer you're going to have to play Saturday, Tuesday and stuff like that, and you have to be expected to do that. And they are young lads. I just didn't think it. But so I was shocked, but also pleased as well when I did see that lineup, Matt.
I think the other thing is, James, that you have to factor into it is what has Henrik Pedersen got to lose? Pre-game, what on earth has he got to lose from chucking those 2 lads in and moving Svante Ingleson into a different position? We said last week Ingleson looked completely lost in the position that he was playing, and that we wanted to see him in more advanced positions, putting pressure on defence. He's doing all the shit that we know he's good at in the English Championship. He might have been better at certain other things in Bundesliga's Zwei before he arrived at us.
Yeah.
But his most productive and dominant performances for us have been when he's in advanced positions and he's able to get out and run, because he's deceptively quick. He doesn't look like he should be. There's nothing about him that screams pace, but actually he's got a fair bit. Ernie Weaver has more than earned his start. I thought the 2 cup games prior to the loss to Grimsby in midweek, I thought he'd done enough to warrant a start, especially based on how porous the back line has been. And George Brown, I think every time we have watched him, I know Paul Pashley's been a really big advocate and supporter of him. And I know he was speaking about you with the watch-along. God, you've done a lot of watch-alongs this week. The watch-along this week. He works tirelessly and has done in all of the games that he's played in. And I suppose for what you want, really, is what have we been saying, James, when Kadamatri's been playing up front on his own? He's isolated and he's not got anybody around him to also back him up. It was, again, I agree with you. I think it's bold, but I think in retrospect and hindsight, looking back, is you think Henrik's thinking was probably, what have I got to lose here? Like, I can experiment and just try something here, and if it don't come off, it doesn't matter because no one's expecting us to win.
But also as well, yeah, you're right, it was a bit of an experiment. However, I think both of those players have done more than enough in the 3 cup games that they've played in. You know, I said after Leeds, I thought that George Brown tried to hold the ball up quite well. And I said it before the game yesterday, I felt like he would give us that bit of an out. I mean, as it turned out, he didn't really need to do that because he was more than happy to kind of run in behind. And the amount of times that he did try those runs and he ran tirelessly, as did Bailey Cadamartri, but it weren't kind of headless chicken running either. I think if you've watched some of the analysis that Tom Hunts has done, TW coaching on Twitter, I'm sure you all follow him. If you watch some of those videos, again, you'll see there's one where Cadamartri kind of goes to press the goalie, but he waits to make sure that I think Ingelsson then goes, and pushes up on their what would have been their right back. So he's like, so rather than engaging and just making it easy for him to get out, he's waiting. Right, you can see him looking. He's like, yeah, he's in place. Right, now I'm going to go because everyone else has cut off those other channels and stuff. So it wasn't just running for the sake of running. It was really, really well thought out. And I think, like I said, Weaver, the games that he's played in so far is more than kind of shown that. Again, it's not a massive risk to chuck him in. No. And given what happened last week with Ottobeo and Iorfa, I suppose, like we were saying, it's why not give him a go? So I thought when I saw the lineup, I was like, yes, I was excited, Matt, to see what they could do, if you know what I mean.
I agree with you, James, and I think just going back to the Ernie Weaver point and the Gabe Ottobeo thing, Gabe Ottobeo has had an awful lot of chances. Like he's had limited opportunities last season, but he came into the season with, you are in place to be one of the starting back 4, back 5, depending on the system that we play. And this is no slight on him. The pace of it has just looked a bit quick for him. And it looked a bit quick for him. He was horrifically exposed at Burnley when he played alongside Michael Ehekwa. And last week in particular against a thoroughly dominant Bristol City side in the first 30 minutes and then they take the foot off the gas. He just looked a little bit lost. And actually, it may be a case of now, I mean, you can't drop Ernie Weaver for the next game, but you're looking at it and you're thinking, well, actually, probably not the way that we thought it was going to play out. But he's going to have to sit and wait his time. And actually, this is the bonus of the position that we are in. It's not a great position to be in. Is actually these young lads, you're going to have to find out whether they're going to sink or swim, like sooner or later. The 2 lads who played yesterday, the 2 young lads, thoroughly deserve their opportunity. I can't disagree with you, James. I think it was the right call in the end.
Yeah, I mean, there was, perhaps a couple of others that might have staked a claim to come in, but I think those 2 especially, we're not scoring goals up top, so why not give him a chance? And also, we looked a bit shaky at the back, so yeah, I was absolutely fine with it. I mean, in terms of overall from the game perspective, Matt, I mean, for me, I'm just immensely proud. I think that is the word, just proud of the performance that they've put in, the manner in which they won the game. Obviously, again, you see the emotion and stuff that you've already talked about in that away end. You see Henrik coming over as well, and like I said, the chance going off, and just kind of winning a game when absolutely no one thought it was even possible. Pre-game, there were people saying this could be our first hammering of the season. Portsmouth have set off pretty well. I think they were 8th, 9th in the league before before we played him yesterday. I think 2 wins, two draws, and only 1 defeat so far. They look decent, they're having a decent start. You look at some of the players that they've got as well, Connor Chaplin, Colby Bishop as well, but both scored a lot of goals. And it looked like we could be that one where it doesn't quite come off for us, even though Fratton Park has been a happy hunting ground for us. Obviously, we've extended that. I think it's like 5 or 6 games now that we're unbeaten down there as well, which goes right back until the millennium as well. I think that 2000 was the last time that they beat us at their place. But no, I just thought that, I thought it was going to be tough. I thought it was going to be a hard slog. I didn't think we were going to win at all. So to come away with that win, and just again, like I said, immensely proud of everyone, manager, fans, and obviously the players as well.
Yeah, I again, James, thoroughly echo all of those sentiments there. I think, it happens every season or any time that we play Portsmouth, James, is that everybody comes out in the post-match and players always seem to state kind of the extra motivation that they want to win the game because they realise how much of a trek it is down there and how far it is for supporters. I think it was 3rd or 4th sentence out of George Brown's mouth yesterday. He was like, we wanted to put on a performance for him because it's a long way down here. We were saying that yesterday. And you're thinking it shouldn't make a difference, but it does. And it adds an extra little splice of motivation to it. I think the other thing is, James, I agree with you. I think Portsmouth and their manager, John Messina, came out and said this after the game as well. I think they thoroughly underestimated us yesterday. Yeah. And I think I'll hold my hands up as well. Myself as a Sheffield Wednesday fan, I underestimated that performance being within the team. I thought they would be able to keep that kind of level of intensity, pressure and defensive solidity up in spells. Did I think that there was a 90 minutes of cohesive performance altogether? Probably not. Hadn't seen it over the course of the season. I'd seen it in pockets. I'd seen it in a game against Leeds in the Cup where on another night Leeds could have run out 4-1 winners. It felt a little bit yesterday, James, as well. I mean, we should also say that Josh Murphy, Portsmouth's best player, wasn't in the squad yesterday, didn't play. And I think he was cited by Henrik in his post-match as well as they'd specifically placed Liam Palmer out there to deal with him because of how well he dealt with the threat at Leicester. And then moving Jan Valery into that defensive midfield role. It just... I don't want to get the bunting and banners out already, but it just felt like it clicked a little bit yesterday. Like, this is how we can make a team out of this. But
it's really weird though about that, man, because it's like he's trying to find out what his best 11 is, but yet literally every single one of those players, bar a mass and the keeper, was there last season, where Henrik was there. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like he's a new manager that's just come in and it's kind of, new eyes on a new squad and he's trying to get him to fit into his kind of philosophy and stuff. I suppose there is an element of that because we're not playing Danny Real football, but surely he would have seen these players and how they've played and how they've performed and stuff all throughout the last 2 years to kind of know who he's going to play. And then now, we've got just for example, Jan Valery playing in that number 6 role. I suppose Shea Charles played that last season, so you didn't really have a need or a want to play him in there. And I suppose what we're trying to do is find a replacement for him, and he's tried a few different things. It's not really worked yet, but this, you're right, this just clicked. We spoke about him tinkering last week, and we were dead against it. We were like, play simple football, just get the basics right. Yeah. But then again, I suppose his argument would be, I've tinkered with it again this time around, and we've won 2-0, so he's probably going to carry on doing it and not listen to me.
I think the other thing is, James, as well, is because the squad is so threadbare, you have to rotate. You are going to have games where, not this week, we've got a clear week and a clear run of air. We've then got 3 games in the space of 7 days. And you are going to have to rotate it. You are potentially going to see more of that cup squad brought into things. You are going to see players maybe targeting certain games, and it wouldn't surprise me if at the weekend coming we see exactly the same 11 rolled out, and then the following Tuesday at St Andrews we see a starting front 2 of Jamal Lowe and Ike Ugbo. Like it genuinely wouldn't surprise me. I think what I am going to have to do as a Sheffield Wednesday fan is temper my expectation. dependent on who is there. Not saying like, oh, those two are starting, so we're never going to fucking score, but actually go, well, we're going to approach the game tactically in a different way because we don't have the players. Because from what we saw yesterday, everything that we've seen so far, the players who have played, they are incapable of doing the defensive front foot stuff that we saw yesterday, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but Matt, what I want to see as well is I want to see Cadamarteri and Brown playing together. I don't want it now to be, Brown gets dropped and Ugbo comes in and it's Cadamarteri and Ugbo again. Them two work. So if you're going to play them two, play them two. If you're going to drop one of them, drop them both. I don't say drop, rest. Do you know what I mean? And put and put the other two in, because I feel like, and then maybe they might strike a partnership together. Yeah, Ugbo and Jamal Lowe, and then we might have Brown and Cadamarteri having their partnership together. I think that would work really well. And I don't want them just mixing and matching and just kind of hoping that it's going to work, if you know what I mean. But let's see there's loads of comments. I'll try and get through as many as I can. Apologies if I can't. Just on Jamal Lowe, Jay says Jamal Lowe should have squared it to Cads, in my opinion. 100,000,000%.
I think he did. To be fair to him, once the ball went out and Cadamarteri was screaming at him, that was late on in the game, wasn't it? There is also an element of me. He did put his hand up and acknowledge it, but there is also a little part of me that's like, actually, a striker taking a shot. Yes, he should square it, but a striker taking a shot from 7 yards out, I'm not going to bitch and moan.
Well, the other one is George Brown could have squared it to Barry Bannan as well, who was there for the FIFA noob goal, and he didn't. He shot and scored. So, I suppose in that one, I do agree though. He should have really squared it. I don't think the shot was really on. He should have crossed it across. But look, it doesn't matter. 2-0, and. First win of the season. So what do we know? First point I want to make is Ernie Weaver and George Brown. We've already spoken about them already, but the two performances from them, they've been chucked in. First league game, first league start. Making the full league debut for Sheffield Wednesday, and I mean Ernie Weaver to begin with, he was absolutely solid. I looked 13 clearances he made in that game. He didn't look out of place at all. There was a moment where they were breaking through and he was kind of like just on the halfway line, putting a fantastic challenge as well. His recovery, just everything that he needed to do, I think, was absolutely spot on. There was one instance where the ball kind of went up and he didn't know where it was and it hit him on his back, and then I think he kicked someone else's foot or whatever, trying to clear it, and they nearly got a goal. But other than that, I think just Ernie Weaver, what a performance from him, and I won't be singing that song live on stream about Posh Spice.
Spice, yeah, I won't do it, James. I won't do it. I know for a monetisation purpose we'll be knackered.
yeah, exactly. But if you want to hear it or know what the lyrics are, they're on X somewhere.
It's the old Nicky Weaver song. It's the old Nicky Weaver song. It's just been a slight change.
Yeah, not his son, by the way.
Yeah.
But no, Ernie was fantastic, weren't he?
I think Ernie Weaver was exceptional. What I would also highlight here massively, and I have been a huge person who's delved out a lot of stick for him, Dominic Iorfa yesterday helped him out massively, as did Max Lowe. I think Ernie Weaver was left to just be a kid at centre-back and just do the stuff that he's good at. Get up for duels, get around players, all of the horrible shit that you've seen him do against light sides, but they took a lot of the organisational role off him yesterday. And it was, he had a big old role because he was at the heart of that defence yesterday. And I thought the other thing that I was most impressed about him is he seemed to grow into the game. He won a header. When the ball was on to play backwards and just play simple, he did so. And then gradually he got... Because, I personally am not a huge Colby Bishop fan. I don't think he's a great forward for Portsmouth. I think he makes them very one-dimensional as a side. But he's handful for a lot of clubs at this level. And for a young lad coming up against him, he's as big a test aerially as you're probably going to get at this level. There will be players who run him behind more, and there will be players who stretch him and move him in different ways. Yesterday, I thought, as the game went on and as he got further into it, he was brilliant yesterday, Ernie Weaver. And George Brown looks exactly like the kind of player you'd want from where he's come from, Does that make sense in terms of,
Yeah.
I think, what was it, 2 seasons ago, he was playing 2 steps below Hallam, and we signed him, and then he had a year in our youth team and has then made his league debut and scored on his league debut. But you see a proper grounding from a player who has played, on parks, in shitholes, and he does all of the horrible stuff. His goal epitomises this, but he does all of that horrible stuff of bang the ball into the corner, he's 50 yards away, and there's not like a token gesture to chase it. He is after him, into corners everywhere, trying to get around the ball. And again, the thing that I'm always really nervous about with young centre forwards is, can they hold the ball up? Bailey Cadamartri learned this last year at Lincoln. But also when you watch Bailey Cadamartri play, you can tell that he's grown up in an academy system. You can tell by the touches, you can tell by the way he shifts the ball, you can tell by the way he moves it. George Brown, you can tell yes, he might have had spells in academies when he was a kid, but he's also got that nasty edge to him, which is like, oh no, fuck it, I'm just going to run everything. I'm going to put flying tackles in. I'm going to go for everything. Even if there's no hope of me getting it, I'm doing all of the horrible stuff on the one chance that things come off for me. They were.
His goal kind of shows that, just to an absolute T, which we'll talk about in a sec. But I think when it comes to Brown, we saw his chance against Grimsby in midweek, and all right, people say perhaps should have buried it and stuff. But for me, what I saw was someone in that position. Jamal's running through, the ball goes out wide right to Kabatsky, and he's tear-arsing down, he's keeping himself onside as well. He has the know-how to get into space, dropping off the defender to allow him that chance. And, on another day it goes in. But for me, I was like, Ugbo wouldn't have been there.
No,
you know what I mean? So for me, I was really impressed with him, and he just continued and did that yesterday. Really, again, got his goal, which I absolutely made up for him. On his debut, that's going to do him an absolute world of good. Moving forward and things. But yeah, I thought both of them to come into the squad like they did in the situation that it's in, like you said, it's a shit situation, but it's great for these youngsters, and also as well, it shows the other ones that, look, put a shift in. I know there's no cup games now, so it's a little bit more difficult, but I'm sure they're going to be involved in training. It's like, look, Henrik will give you a chance. We have to. We've got no other option, really. We are going to be rotating. I saw a comment earlier, apologies, I forget who it was, saying, wait until it gets Saturday, Tuesday. Yeah, it is going to be a slog. So these lads are going to get a chance. But if you do take your chance, well, like you said, we'll see probably on Saturday when he names that exact same starting lineup. He'll keep you in there. So yeah, like I said, for them to absolutely made up. And I think for the first time this season, Matt, as well, it was a complete team performance. Yeah. You mentioned about, is there going to be a caveat this time around? And like I said, not one of them, everyone to a man, put an absolute shift in. Yeah, if you want to nitpick and stuff, I'm sure there will be a few little mistakes here and there. Portsmouth came into the game a lot in the second half, certainly like the first 5 or 10 minutes of the second half, and then we score, obviously, and then near the end it was kind of holding on a little bit. But look, you can expect that. It's a team that's just after half time they're losing, they'll have had a rocket up their arse, and then it's 2-0. So once it goes 2-0 in the position that we're in, the other team is going to come at you, and they're going to throw the kitchen sink at you, and it is going to be a holding on exercise, isn't it, really? But they were all just absolutely fantastic. And the thing for me as well is something that I didn't see, and I've not seen at all, is the way that we just threw ourselves in front of the ball. Barry Bannan, I think he blocked about 45 shots. It certainly felt like that anyway. On the edge of the box, he was always there, putting himself in front of the ball. And you kind of expect that from Barry. Like, that's the type of person he is. But Max Lowe, another one. There was an effort inside the 6-yard box. Again, he's flung himself at it. And if you watch the replay, you see Ernie Weaver as well doing exactly the same behind. Like, trying, I think he's like practically on the line. But he's like, if this gets past Max Lowe, I'm blocking this ball. And I've not seen that. I don't want to use that phrase that Mr. Warnock used, but you've got to die for this badge, and that's what I saw yesterday. I saw that battling performance, which we're going to need this season. I know we've spoke about you can't do that for a full season; it's just not possible. But yesterday, that's what they did, and look, they got the just rewards. We win the game 2-0.
Yeah, I think if you're right to actually like highlight the entire team, James, because like Ethan Horvath, who's come in for some atrocious stick, and we all know the situation as to why he's here and how he's ended up playing, and obviously the fact that if both of the first team keepers were fit, there's no point in him even strapping up his fingers, let alone putting on his gloves. He yesterday was exceptional, unconventional. I've got no problem with it, though, if you're making the saves and keeping the ball out. For me, personally, yesterday, and I think there were better performers on the pitch, Harry Amass was the one who typified the performance for me. There was a moment in the first half where the goalkeeper for Portsmouth receives it. He plays the ball into the wide right channel, 40 yards or so from goal. He tries to nip in and steal it, and he gets rolled. I think it was Portsmouth's right back, Zach Swanson, has a head start on him by about 6 yards. He forces him wide. He gets back. He then forces him inwards because Swanson then chops to come inwards. He forces him backwards towards his own goal. As Swanson picks his head up and takes his eye off the ball at his feet, he slides in and smacks the ball out. Doesn't go out of play. Goes straight back to a Portsmouth player, but it allows everybody else to come back in and reset. Previously, I don't want to bash players here and dig it out. Last week, that doesn't happen. Last week, that player just runs away, skips down the line, plays the ball inside, they switch the ball, and there's a chance created. He, yesterday, in terms of his interceptions, he won his individual battles. How many headers he won yesterday? Because Portsmouth were clearly, I think it was, 44 crosses into the box, Portsmouth, yesterday. And a lot of them in the second half, they were targeting him at the back post. Because when the ball went out wide left, you'd look to the back stick and there was 2 players on him and he won headers. And if he didn't win the ball, he'd make sure that he was physical in the challenge so it wasn't a clean contact on the ball. He, yesterday, from my perspective, was exceptional. The stuff that he did when he was on the ball was good as well. But I think it was all of that hard, horrible running, like that dogfighting stuff that we haven't seen for prolonged periods in a game yesterday. I thought he typified it yesterday and was exceptional.
Yeah, I have to agree, really. You've picked him out. I think you could do that kind of for anyone. And I think
yes,
what the difference was, because I'm just kind of going back to last week, and when we concede that early goal, it is difficult as well in the situation that we're in when we do go 1-0 down. I can't see us coming back from many. I knew we did against Wrexham, but I think that's going to be few and far between if we do go behind. So it's a good. I think it was a case of, I'm sure Henrik would have said, like, the first 10 minutes are absolutely vital. I mean, obviously the fact that we score not long after them first 10 minutes is even better. But I think you saw the intensity from the gun as well. And then first 10 minutes closing everyone down, pressing from the front. Like I mentioned before, not just aimlessly pressing. There was a bit of a plan to it, which you need as well. You can't just have one person running around because they're just going to knock the ball around you. They're not playing against the Sunday League side. They're actually half decent, these players that you're coming up against. They're just going to pass around you and make it look a lot easier. So I think that was key in terms of, like I said, the intensity that we came out with. I mean, there could also be an element of, this game could have been targeted by Henrik as one that we could get 3 points in. We might not see that intensity, next Saturday against QPR, for example, or even or Tuesday. You might have thought, you know what, Portsmouth, they're doing well, but this is one we can actually do something in. We don't know. Only time will tell on that one. We'll see what happens next Saturday when we come up against QPR, whether we do play in that same form. I mean, look, I'm sure you'd try and replicate what works last week. Yeah, exactly. But we'll just have to see. But in terms of actually, I'm going to talk about tactics, but I just want to come to a few comments. I feel like I've been neglecting the comment section. There's not been that many. Mark says, I've said for years, play the young guns. Just on that, Matt. Yes, it is great when it comes off like yesterday. But I'm always a little bit reluctant because I'm the same. I'm always like, why not play the lads? Like everyone wants that player that comes through the academy and either goes on to play 100 games or you get sold for 25 million or whatever. Every fan wants that to happen at their club. But also, I'm always a bit like, if they were good enough, they'd be playing anyway. Yeah. And there's a reason why they don't get picked. So I am always a little bit reluctant. But it is always nice, isn't it, when the youngsters do well.
I think, I agree with the sentiment in terms of you should be able to bring youth team players. You should have one or two youth team players who regularly get minutes for you every single season playing for your football club. Pierce Charles has had it last year, now made the step up and is now, when fit, a first team regular. The other issue, James, here is the quality of the crop of youngsters that we saw when we were down, relegated from the Championship and going into League One. And this is no disservice to those players. Alex Hunt was never going to make the step up to the first team, ever. He was nicest one in the world, just wasn't good enough. Technically very gifted footballer, saw the goal he scored for, was it York the other day? Absolute worldie. Not a Championship footballer.
Yeah.
The last player that we have had up until this current crop of youngsters who are capable of making that step up was George Hurst. And people don't like to hear that because of obviously what happened with him and all the rest of it. Last year we were crying out for, Caelan Cole to get a game. A 15-year-old lad. We were going, just chuck him in. He's got to fucking play. Why not? He's good enough. Like, Reading do this all the time. The issue being, we do not have a Grade 1 or Category A academy. So the players that play for us are few and far between who are able to make the step up. Now, this current crop has consistently, over their age groups, especially in the last year or so, we have heard rumblings about these players. I noticed a comment in the chat earlier about Sean Fasire. Sean Fasire went out on loan to Carlisle last year. Up until the last handful of games, couldn't get a game for him. Came in because they were out of options and actually was allowed to just play his own game. Carlisle still got relegated. Like, he didn't help him stay up. He wasn't that good, but he was able to bed himself in. Bailey Cadamartri, another prime example, went to Lincoln, learned how to play football up against grizzled, horrible League One centre-halves, didn't tear it up. I know he suffered an injury, but up to that point, he was in and out of the squad. It's tempering those expectations of what to expect, because I hope this doesn't happen. Please, I really hope it doesn't. Ernie Weaver will have a bad game. If he plays consistently this year, he will get taught a lesson by somebody, like an absolute schooling. Just got to be patient with him. Like, you just have to.
Well, the other two that people were going mental about when they left was Azarzio Agide and Liam Shaw. Now, I'm just having a look they left, a few years ago now, 2021.
COVID season. COVID season.
Yeah, 2021 was Liam Shaw. He went to Celtic. He went on loan to Motherwell, Morecambe and Wigan. He's been at Fleetwood and now he's at Northampton. So clearly, that's his level. Northampton League 1, League 2. Azarzio Agide again went to Celtic, didn't play one game at all for them. Went to Belgium, then he went to a French side, and he's now at FC Dallas in the MLS. All right, playing a few games, he's made 20 appearances this season, whenever their season started. But yeah, the point being, like, we cry out for these players to come in. Those players have carried on their careers, and if they were at, I don't know, a top class Championship side at Middlesbrough tearing it up in top of the league, then you go, all right, fair enough. But they're not. So again, it's easy to say play the kids, but they also have to be good enough as well.
Agreed.
But fingers crossed these ones that are coming through, we will find some diamonds in the rough, and you never know what's going to happen. Jason says, I'm starting to quite like Horvath, some decent passing from him and some good stops. Yeah, I find it difficult with him because I'm not his biggest fan. But again, I always temper this with Pierce Charles is incredible. So it's literally you cannot compare the two. But you do try and do that because they both pull on the Sheffield Wednesday shirt, and you're like,
But again, James, it goes back to that. We have, as a football club, you can't say many strikers. We've had some outstanding goalkeepers in our time here, and fans are used to seeing an outstanding pair of hands in net. Like, recent history, everybody goes back to Kieran Westwood. Cameron Dawson is a competent top-end League One goalkeeper, Championship keeper. Sheffield Wednesday fans thought he was shit. Joe Wildsmith, again, leaves Sheffield Wednesday, gains promotion with Derby, goes and plays for West Brom, competent League One championship, got bottom end championship goalkeeper. He's shit. Like James Beadle, competent championship goalkeeper, potential in and around one of the most progressive clubs in the country, drops a ball against Coventry, he's shit. Like, I get it. Like, Ethan Horvath is not Pierce Charles. Pierce Charles is also shit because he's 5'10". We're always... That goes back to the expectation of, I suppose, playing for like a club like Wednesday with the expectation that we do. I think Ethan Horvath is unconventional in the way that he makes saves, and I think you are going to find games like yesterday where lightning catches in a bottle, and it seems like he can do no wrong for 90 minutes, but that is also because he had a very solid back line in front of him yesterday. So when chances were coming at him, it wasn't like, oh, it's a striker clean on goal. Like, he's clean in from 10 yards out and he's got his pick of the, places where to put the ball. It was bodies flying across the line of sight. The only way he was going to get beaten yesterday was off a deflection. Yesterday. Yeah. That was the only way we were conceding yesterday. It wasn't from a 40-yard worldie or whatever. But those were the only two ways that we were conceding yesterday. Portsmouth were unable to slice us open yesterday. And when they did create a chance, Horvath or a defender on the line cleared the ball.
And if anything as well, that's going to give him some confidence, which his first game against Wrexham would have given him absolutely zero confidence. So let's... Pierce Charles will be back at some point. I'm sure the time where he is fit and ready to come in, he will come straight in because it gives us so many other options from an attacking sense. It gives us that extra player to pass to when you're in the back three, back five, or whatever it might be at the time. So I can see him coming straight in. But until now, great. He's kept a clean sheet. We've won the game. Let's try and get off his back, myself included, on that one as well. Matt, in terms of tactics though, Henrik got it absolutely spot on. This weekend, I think, he did make some changes. Like you mentioned, they did click. There were times where it was a little bit nervy, but again, it's a game of football. Like, you're not going to have 100% dominance. No. We let Portsmouth have the ball. The possession stats kind of show you that. But I think what we did, we were effective with it, but also we turned the ball over high as well. They were winning the ball back, and they had it at the back four. We won the ball back, and we were winning the ball back on the halfway line in their half. So naturally, you're not going to have as much possession unless you turned around and passed it all the way back to your goalkeeper and slowed it down. And we didn't really do that. But obviously it was the battling that I think was a massive change. There was a lot of, I suppose, belief in the side that they could actually do something. Yep. I'll come on to Valerie. Well, we'll come on to Valerie in a second in terms of his different position. But for me, like the winning of the second balls as well, I think that is something that, is it overlooked? I don't know, but it's something that teams don't really do. And I think there's so much importance on winning that second ball. When you lump it forward, you don't need to win the ball to flick it on, because probably you're not flicking it on to anyone. No, you can sometimes lose the ball as long as you contest it, so you're not letting them have an easy header. Yeah, then you win that second ball, and then you still those kind of recoveries and stuff. But I felt like we looked comfortable off the ball as well. We didn't look rattled. I think they were getting into the shape. Whatever. I think Tom's saying it was like a 3-4-3 out of possession, which seemed to work, and it was the pressing as well. And I just think defending from the front, everything Henrik did, it just absolutely worked. And I kind of welcomed those changes, really. What did you make to his tactics and the way that we kind of approached the game?
I thought it was the first time that we kept things relatively simple. There was nothing groundbreaking yesterday about the way that we played. Defensively, we set up to protect first and foremost, and the back line did great. They didn't, it wasn't like... We've seen games over the Danny Röhl era where Henrik Pedersen's been part of the coaching staff, where Jan Valery started at right back but then drifted into that defensive midfield position to kind of create. And we've seen Charlie McNeil this season dropping into right wing back positions to pick the ball up off the back foot. There was fuck all of that yesterday, which worked, and it was the right call and right thing to do. it wasn't like all-encompassing cover where, like, you know, like against Leeds, it was we might as well just have 10 players just camped on the edge of our area here.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that at all. It forced Portsmouth into areas where, I think, again, had they had Josh Murphy playing yesterday, I think we may have seen a slightly different outcome in perhaps some of the deliveries. But effectively, where I think from yesterday's viewing, where Portsmouth are clearly good is where they've got open grass in front of them to run, and we didn't give them that space. Yeah. We were sat defensively on the edge of our area, and the ball would go wide, and then it was, right, can you beat Liam Palmer and Dominic Iorfa, who were backing each other up, Harry Amass and Max Lowe out on the other wing. Last 5 minutes, we were happy to let them fire the ball into the box because of the amount of bodies in there. We kind of backed ourselves to deal with it. He fixed the entire right side in one game. And that has been our biggest Achilles heel all season. It's where the goals have come from consistently over and over and over again, with Liam Palmer going out there and putting in a very, very mature and competent and confident display. Nothing groundbreaking at all.
I must admit, when I saw the lineup, I thought, oh, that was the one thing I was like, yeah. Palmer's in the middle. Shit, because I totally didn't expect Valerie to play there and then kind of switch. But yeah, like we said last week, play Palmer because he didn't have a great game either. So fair play to him for coming off the back of a poor performance and then putting in that performance that he did this time around in a different position. And let's keep him there. Just before we talk about Valerie playing in that number 6 role, I think as well, some of the players might have been a little bit complacent this season. Your Jamal Lowe's, Ike Ugbo's, McNeil as well, potentially. Those players that didn't play this week will now be like, shit, I'm probably not going to play next week either now. Whereas previously they might have thought, well, I'm just going to play every single week because there isn't any other players. Whereas now, if you speak to them, they'll probably deny it. But you never know. That's just subconsciously. If you know you're going to play every week, maybe you don't have to try 110% every single time in training. Whereas now they're going to be like, right, I am going to have to pull my socks up, and the team can only benefit from that, from a little bit of an extra impetus from the players, really.
Sorry, James. Just to back that point up, the key to our attacking play yesterday was the ball over the top. The out ball over the top, spin it in behind and get them running in behind. Whether that was just being hoofed clear and just asking people to chase it, whether it was the slightly more nuanced balls of Harry Amass and Jan Valery
they were
for
fantastic,
the second goal.
Weren't they?
That like
kind of
like the slice down the line to kind of like land just behind where the centre half was and skip on forward. But what that does is it stretches Portsmouth, it stretches the team, and it allows everybody time to get out. And actually, if a Portsmouth player does win a defensive header and knocks it back into the middle of the park, they knock it back into the middle of the park, but because Bannan is in a more advanced position, because Jan Valery is more defensive-minded than Bannan, there is a likelihood that we win the second ball and the knockdown. The pace up front, and it's a tale as old a time in football, and we haven't seen this since probably Lucas João played for us. Pacing behind kills teams. Now, are either of our two lightning fast? No, they're not. Are they quick enough to keep any centre-half at this level honest? Absolutely. And if that is the way that you are going to set up and you are going to play, that really quick back to front and then win the ball in transition and attack. We saw it a lot in the first half, winning the second ball goes into Svante Ingelsson and he's gone. Because I'm doing Ingelsson a disservice here. I'm talking about Brown and Cadamartri like it was just them two. First half, how many times was Ingelsson bombing or going, just looking for the ball?
Yeah.
It forces you to think of something else. It forces you to go back with the runners, and it creates gaps in between your centre-half and midfield. No disrespect to Jamal Lowe and Ike Ugbo. That's not their game. Jamal Lowe may have been capable of this 5 seasons ago. He's not capable of it now.
Yeah.
Ike Ugbo is a penalty box, wants the ball without thinking, just hit it. We don't play like that this season, and we have shown in those first 4 games prior to yesterday, we are incapable of doing that regularly. You can do that in pockets and spells of games, but we can't do that well enough at this point in time.
Yeah, John said sides will soon work us out. I mean, I don't think we've worked ourselves out yet. Do you know what I mean? It's only one game. Let's start playing like this consistently before we start worrying about teams working us out. If you know.
Do you know what, John? I don't disagree with you, but I would also argue that sides will figure any side out, like over the course of a game. It's just when you get into, I suppose, with those two up front, when you get into a foot race with those two, are you going to be able to consistently win them? It proved yesterday, no, that sides aren't going to be able to consistently win them. And I'd rather see us in those advanced positions forcing teams backwards just by going long occasionally. It's not football I want to watch, but it's the players that we've got and the cards that were dealt. Play to the side's strengths.
But the other thing as well, like, we saw the first goal came from a set piece. Like, this is how easy football can be. Like, you get, all right, I know you've got to win win the free kick in the first place and get in those, getting those opportunities to, or in those areas to have that chance on goal. But, work on your set pieces. It can make football so much easier. I want to bring this one up because it did really tickle me. Matt said, James finished his drink, hasn't moved and got another drink. Haha. Do you have your own waiter service? Lol. Yeah, my wife's just sat down here, just passing me the drinks up. No, I've just got two. We had orange and then I've got a water as well. How many drinks have you got, Matt, at this present time?
Well, I've finished my Sheffield double and seeing as I've got work in the morning, I'm now sorting that out with a 2-litre bottle of Tesco's finest Ashbeck English. So yeah,
there we go. It did tickle me, that one. So I had to bring it up. Valerie then playing in the six. Like I said, I didn't notice it immediately. I did think that Palmer, when I looked at the lineup, Palmer was going to be playing alongside Barry Bannan. But in fact, it was World Cup qualifier for Tunisia. Jan Valery. I do hope he gets a chance in the World Cup as well, by the way, if he is still with us.
Just so he can get a move.
Yeah. But it just worked, didn't it? Go and watch Tom's analysis of this, because he does a piece on this. He picks out one moment. Basically what he's saying is he's very good laterally. So the sides left to right, basically, if you don't know what the word lateral means. And there was one moment where the ball comes in and a guy kind of pops it around the corner out to the byline, and straight away he's turned his body and he's at the kid on the byline, who then I think he then gets a blocking actually, and it goes out for a throw in. What he's saying is Svante Ingolson is good running up and down, but a bit like a steamboat, a bit like a steamboat. Trying to turn. His turning circle isn't great, so he's gonna struggle. Whereas Valery is good at doing that, and he's just on him straight away, bang. And I think what Henrik said was, Bannan, when he goes, Valery knows to drop. Like, they complement each other quite well. Bannan can play further up the field, which, hallelujah! Like, how many times have we been saying that one for the last kind of 10 years? Get Bannan playing further forward.
Feels like also, since he moved into the centre of the pitch, we haven't got a fucking clue how to use consistently the best player for the last 10 years.
But also, we saw it last season. He trusted Shea Charles. Hopefully, Bannan can trust Jan Valery in that role, which can allow him to play for. It's not just about you as an individual; it's about everyone else. And I just thought that a little bit absolute masterstroke. He said he tried it on Thursday, so he tried it Thursday and Friday. And obviously, they played on Saturday. It's not a Craig David song, don't worry. But yeah. Do you know what as well? I nearly got his name wrong. I nearly called him David Blaine, and I'm like, that is not the guy who sang that song. That's that weirdo that sat in that glass box for 24 hours or whatever.
One of the greatest modern magicians ever. Weirdo is how you described him.
Yeah, exactly. But no, Jan Valery, it just worked, didn't it?
Yeah, I think again, I'm still scarred by Shea Charles not being here. He is the most natural player, and this is fucking mental to say of a right back. He is the most natural player that we have to fill in that position, and clearly, I think.
Can I just say before you carry on, Matt? Southampton, they're only 2 points above us. So Shea,
I will still shit in it.
Shay, if you want to come back January, you know,
James, I'm going to say this.
We'll not pay you, but we didn't pay you last time, so it doesn't really matter. It's exactly the same deal, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, exactly. James, I'm going to say this now. Did you watch the South Coast Derby last Sunday?
I didn't, unfortunately, no.
What a player. You know when you're watching someone and you're just going, what the fuck are you doing at this level? Like, what on earth are you doing here? Anyway, going back to it, I think Jan Valery, yes, I agree, obviously, with TW coaching. The lateral movement, or as Steve Brattner would have it, side to side, up and atom bombing on. He's great at that, and I think that obviously comes from, as a wing-back, modern wing-back, you have to be able to go inside and outside. Like, you have to go either way. You have to be very quick at kind of changing your hip movement, and I know a lot of players. So we were speaking to a gentleman who we were trying to get on to record a preview show, but it never to record a special episode. Sorry, and it never quite worked because he was so busy with pre-season. But he works with footballers regularly, and a lot of what he does is actually surrounding that swivelling of your hips movement and that going at quick changes of pace from side to side with either snappy wingers or wing backs. And in the centre of the park, that's invaluable. Like, absolutely invaluable when you are a defensive midfielder in the modern game to be able to do that. We've also seen that coaches recognise that he can do that, play that position, because he plays in that false right back where actually he's not a right back, he is a defensive midfielder when we're in possession. So for me yesterday, I have him down as the man of the match yesterday, Jan Valery. And he was, let's not kid ourselves, he was awful the week before and the week before that. Yesterday, he was absolutely brilliant, and marshalled I think the underrated thing for me yesterday was how much defensive protection and cover he provided for the back line, and actually how much of a additional weight he seemed to lift off their shoulders. Does that make sense? Because yes, the back line is, it was better yesterday, considerably better, but the player who is directly behind him is an 18, 19-year-old kid making his first league debut. You have to keep the pressure off him, and we did so. And that goes back to Henrik recognising, if you expose him, Ernie Weaver, we might get caught out. Connor Chaplin as well, always going to want to operate in those kind of spaces. Stick Jan Valery in there and just do the simple stuff. Because the other thing is as well, Jan Valery is deceptively quite strong. When he's got like a player, like he's got, like he'll hold his arm out to hold a player and keep him there. And he does. They don't get round him. They don't push past him. And he's got quick feet to get out of tight positions as well. Yeah. The
other thing is we had a right back with a number 7 shirt on. Now I've got a defensive midfielder wearing that number 7 shirt as well. So
like it. Fuck your tradition. Oh,
Matt for a second there. Oh, is he back? Oh, you're back.
There we go.
You just froze for a second, but we're
no problem, mate. Same this end as well, so we're fine.
Fair enough. Let's talk about the goals then, if we can. 12 minutes on the clock. Barry Bannan stands over a free kick from 20 yards out. I said Bannan stood over it. Palmer stood over it as well. And I was at the time I was thinking, well, this would be a turn up for the Bucks if Liam Palmer strikes this one. But Bannan with an absolutely delightful free kick. We all know he's got that in the locker. He's done the keeper with the eyes, hasn't he, Matt? Because the keeper's absolutely rooted to the spot. Doesn't even move, does he?
You say he's got that in the locker. Do we? Do we know he's got that in the locker?
Look, he's been here 10 years. It's at the back of the locker. Do you know what I mean?
He's done it once against Stoke, but yeah, sure, he's got it somewhere in there.
No, look, he has scored some fantastic goals for us. We know that he is.
Yeah. From open play, yeah, for sure. I don't disagree with you, James, from open play. From dead ball, I was thinking this is going to get clipped in it 10 yards out of play. It's going to be one of them floated ones that he gets his foot right under.
But how many times does he ever go, though, to have a shot? He doesn't, does he, really?
Right.
He doesn't really. He must not back himself. But I mean, look, I think we might be seeing a few more shots from Baz.
I think I feel so bad, like even remotely bringing this up. He strikes me as a player who makes better contact with a moving ball. I think Josh Windass spoke about this last year. When he scored the goal against Derby, and he was saying because the ball's going away from you and because it's not stationary, it's actually much harder to make the clean contact and get the distance on it. Bannan is better at that than when the ball is stationary.
Yeah.
When you actually look back at the free kick, I mean, the run to win the free kick is exceptional. Jan Valery again, absolutely exceptional. Breaking through, weaving through a couple of tackles, gets brought down. Then we set up, I mean, Portsmouth, whoever did the fucking scouting report on us needs taking upside a wall and shooting. Liam Palmer as a decoy. Are you fucking having a laugh? Like he's going to ever hit it. Like, again,
I thought, well, I'm thinking, what's happening here? Like, you know.
I mean, again, couldn't see who the decoy was stood in the away end, but it's when I've watched it back, I've gone, are you taking the fucking piss? 20 yards out, career right back. But yeah, I agree with you, James. He's done him with the eyes. I think the free kick isn't brilliant.
No.
It's not like an exceptional free kick. It is just such clever. You know, just as he takes the first step, I think it's the view behind the goal. The view behind the goal is the best one, where it's like behind him as he's about to hit the ball. As Bannan takes his first step, he actually just looks up at the goal, and I think what he's looking at is over the wall, and the keeper moves because Bannan actually is often celebrating before the ball's actually gone over the line because he knows he's done him.
Well, because if he just wraps his foot around it, but it's like the whole penalty, when they just roll it into the goal and the keeper's gone the other way, and you go, "Oh, fantastic penalty!" But when they do that and the keeper goes the right way, you go, "That is made him look absolutely stupid." There,
yes,
it's the same thing, isn't it? Like because the keeper went the wrong way and he went that side, it didn't need to be in the postage stamp. He just, and you look and he does, he doesn't get fantastic contact on it, but you're never going to. It's like the same with the Harry Kane penalties. He does the same thing, doesn't he? He wraps his foot around it and he's going to hit it, and it's either going to, within a split second, he can either put it in the left corner or the right corner. And clearly, I mean, he must have practiced that. He must have Bannan must have known what he were going to do. But yeah, I didn't expect it. 1-0 up at Portsmouth. I was, dreamland. And talking about dreamland, actually before, when was the last free kick that we scored from a direct free kick?
I had it as the last one I could remember was Josh Windass League One season. I remember him hitting the post at St Andrews away and George Byers tapping in the rebound before we chucked that away. Aside from that, anybody else's guess is as good as mine, to be honest.
Well, I had it as that one as well at Cheltenham. At Hillsborough against
Cheltenham, yeah.
Someone said it was Callum Patterson against, I want to say, Burton Albion in the Papa John's Trophy the week after. So,
sure.
Yeah.
I weren't there. Yeah, I weren't. And clearly not a memorable game. Yeah.
Was that the game where Joe Wildsmith, where the ball goes under his foot and it goes in from a back pass? I'm sure that's that one in the first couple of minutes.
Not a clue. Yeah. Honestly, James, I'll be honest with you, with all those Meat Feast trophy games that were there, it was either, I don't even know how to watch this. Like, do you remember you used to have to go like right into all the red button stuff and then scroll 50 odd pages to try and find them? Yeah,
absolute waste of time that cup. Only because we didn't win it, of course. But yeah, talking about being in dreamland, one person that definitely was George Brown on 50 minutes. So they've come out of the traps pretty quick, Portsmouth, which is good to be expected. We were under the cosh a little bit, but then Valery just launches the ball, and it's such a strange goal because he's zero threat to anyone. Shaughnessy, he's just going to pick the ball up and regain possession and probably pass it back to the keeper or do whatever. But George Brown, fair play to him. We talked about him chasing down lost causes. I think he's trying to cut off that pass on the.
Oh yes, come on, taking a piss out of my internet. Camera's still here.
Look, I'm all right now.
Whoa! Look at the speed of that.
Look that. Do you know what? I'm chucking this camera in the bin. Anyone want a Sony camera? It might be going on Vinted in a minute. It's absolute dog shit. But no, he's chased it down. He's I think he's going to cut off the pass to the keeper. That's what he's trying to do. But he doesn't. He don't even get that to that point because the lad goes down. And I'm not being funny. Unless he's broke his leg, he could have just carried on running and just. It was about 2 yards away from the ball. He could have just cleared it.
I don't know, James. Have you ever felt a tight hamstring, let alone one snap? Jesus Christ.
You've got to die for the badge, son. You've got to die for it. He didn't die for fuck all, did he? You know,
Bollocks to that.
But no, George Brown runs onto it, and then time just went into like slow motion for a second. Yep. It took an absolute age. I mean, I watched it back, and he's just trotting with the ball, probably thinking, "What do I do? What do I do here?" And I thought the chance had gone. I thought it took far too long, but he doesn't. He hits it with his left foot. Ball goes in the middle of the goal. I mean, again, he must have done the keeper with the eyes again, because the keeper kind of goes to the left and it shoots past him. And we're 2-0 up. And yeah, it's such a strange goal, weren't it? Really, such a strange goal.
It was a strange goal. I think. Let's deal with the elephant in the room, James. Like, in terms of player goes down injured. I think the telltale sign for that there wasn't one Portsmouth player who went and surrounded the referee about the ball should have been put out of play, and there wasn't really mass uproar from Portsmouth fans directly after the incident or any time he touches the ball after that. I mean, if this was at Hillsborough, I would have been absolutely spitting feathers, 100%. But inside saying, forward's done the right thing there. George Brown just plays to the whistle. If we're being completely honest, also, in the build-up to the goal, I say build-up, like we've played a fantastic move. Portsmouth have the ball out on the wide left. They cut inside. Palmer and Valery mop it up. Palmer actually ends up clashing knees with Jan Valery. Palmer goes down. I didn't hear anybody trying to stop play there. There was no trying to stop play there as Liam Palmer's like on the floor clutching his knee. I feel really bad because a snapped hamstring is, thank God I've never done it, but I've got incredibly tight hamstrings. Unbelievable pain. And it is, you can't run. You can't do anything. Like, I mean, he could have, if he'd have fallen to the floor and tried to nod, it probably would have been a better idea.
Hey, did you not see Akin for me against MK Dons?
Yeah, I know. Bollocks to that. Absolutely bollocks to that. I looked at it, and then when he gets the ball, I didn't think he was having his own internal dilemma because he turns straight for goal and you know where he's going. I actually thought he was really, really clever in recognising the moment of like, oh shit, I have got 20 yards of clear runway here. I'm one-on-one with a goalkeeper. This is to put me... And all of that, you could almost see it when he's... Because it was directly in line with... Where he approaches the box was directly in line with where I was stood. And you can almost see it written over his face of, right, close your eyes, calm down, take a breath, get yourself set, make sure you get a good contact on it. And he said as much in his post-match, didn't he? He said, I wanted to make sure that I'd calm myself down. And I wanted to make sure I hit the target. I actually thought for the goalkeeper, I didn't think he'd done him with his eyes. I thought the keeper thought he was in a different position in the goal. Like, I think the keeper thought... Like, but as in, where a goalkeeper will say, like, my positioning has to be right from the start? Yeah. It isn't going to be because he hasn't had to shift himself across until Brown's got into the box because he's so far... It looked to me as if... And modern goalkeepers do this, don't they? When Shaughnessy's got the ball at the back, he's pulled wide left to give it, like he's pulled further wide to actually give him an option and space to operate in to split the two centre forwards. And then when Brown picks the ball up, he's like got to sprint across and then get out to Brown and figure out when he's going to come out. My only concern was how fucking close the defender got. Oh, I know. to getting a block.
That's why I thought it took too long. I thought he's got back here and the chances are going to be gone, but he didn't, did he? And it was 2-0.
It's
the celebrations in the away end looked fantastic as well at that point.
Well, the first again for you mentioned it earlier, James. I'd done a at the match with myself yesterday on like a full day out and stuff, and I'd managed to clip the Bannan goal on my microphone, and you'll hear some horrendous shouting. On that one, there was nothing, and there was I probably could have got the phone out, hit record, stopped it, took a photo, everything before the ball had hit the back of the net. But he was the scenes in that there, from him as a young lad, from the fact that it was in front of the away end, from the fact that straight after that everybody jumps into the the ex Jaden Brown song, the now George Brown song of Get Brown on it. It was. There was about 5 minutes after that of where everybody kind of looking around, going, "Are we all?" I know everybody went mental. Are we all right to feel okay about that goal? Like, are we all like a conversation with the bloke to the right of me? And he was stood with his, I think it was definitely his missus, and he was stood there going, What do you reckon? What do you reckon? I just went, fuck them. Like, you got to score, ain't you? You got to, yeah. You've got to score. You've got to score. It's really funny.
Excellent. Let's come to some of the 3-word match reviews then, following that 2-0 win. At WTID Pod on Twitter is where you need to go for that one. Matt Richards says over the moon. Matt Glossop, love this club. And Neil's gone with fully deserved win. Abs says won a game. Ben's gone with Weaver Brown masterclass. Big Al just says mind the gap. Kerry, shocked but elated. Dave, gone with well done Wednesday. Tom, Valerie, midfield maestro. Al's gone with very well deserved. They're absolutely fucking gorgeous. Proud. Didn't expect that. Went to battle. Lovely. 3 points away. Ole. He didn't say the ole bit. I'll just add that bit on. You've stepped up. Henrik the Genius. I'll read one more out. Let's have another mind the gap. Why not? There was many mind the gaps in the comments.
That was. I'll be honest with you. When obviously the news started filtering through at Fratton Park that had finished 1-0. Fucking hell! And because we were obviously about a minute away from it finishing, my goodness me, was there some anger in that chant?
Yeah, it was great as well because it pinged up, and then clearly people can get signal at Fratton Park because when it started coming round, it was great. I must say as well, my cousin who's a United fan, he was being very quiet. So didn't reply to any of my 3 messages last night, and Jimmy's been quite quiet as well recently.
Well, just on the strength of what happened with Ruben Sellers, are they all going to start questioning Chris Wilder as well now? Because they questioned Sellers after a game. Are they all going to start questioning him? Is it now all the players' fault? Is it the owner's fault? Or is everybody just going to have to accept the fact that actually they should never have gone back for a third time?
You should never go back for seconds. Not off previous experience, but just saying. They got the flags out for him and everything. Managers. I was talking about something else, but it's fine. You can call it a buffet if you want. It's up to you.
Come on.
But they got all the flags out for him as well, didn't they? Bless them. But oh well.
That tifo's fucking embarrassing. That. Oh my god. Apologies to whoever, because somebody's clearly spent some coin on that. Come on, lads. The graphics on this are better than that.
Top notch over here. Top notch.
Exactly.
Sheffield 6. Right. Let's. Do you know what? Well, we're going to talk about the form away from home and kind of why is it different? Why the points we've picked up have all come away from home. Is it kind of a pressure thing at home as to why we've not been great this season? I'm going to save that for extra time. We'll do that on extra time. So patreon.com/WTID pod is where you need to go for that one. Just want to touch on the embargoes, though, if we can, Matt, because it was announced earlier on this week that Sheffield Wednesday, it's not an uncommon thing. We kind of it's routine. I think we've been on that webpage more than we haven't this year. But yeah, we did pop up on the EFL embargoes section. 2 embargoes, one for future financial information, and then there was a profit and sustainability one in around secure funding. It's also come out via the Star again that he's looking to sell not the golden elephants, but some unrefined gold, about 500 kilo of African unrefined gold, which he's trying to get rid of. What did you make to all of that when it came out? Because we are getting a little bit numb to it now. It would be a shock to any other football club that they're on that site, but to us, it's a weird one because I'm pleased, but also not pleased at the same time, if you know what I mean. I'm not because I don't want to see the club being dragged through the mud in the way that it has, whereas I am because it means that something's actually happening and he is struggling like mad.
All right. Ryder Cup starts next week for any golf fans, so here we go. The EFL are teeing up the independent football regulator to smack a drive 310 yards down the fairway. Next 40 days, James, counting it up yesterday, we were talking about it in the pub. He needs 10 million quid to service the debt on the mortgage, pay the wages, and pay the tax bill. It ain't fucking happening. So this embargo from the EFL, in my opinion, is a box-ticking exercise by them saying, look, we've done everything bar give them a points deduction here. We have charged them with all of these different embargoes. We have charged them with all of the different things that they have been, and I would be absolutely amazed is if in some corridor somewhere somebody hasn't bumped into somebody accidentally and someone said to that person, just to help us out in November when we come into power, can you just make sure you've done everything in your power aside from a points deduction? Yeah, no bother, we'll get on that. That's what it strikes of to me. Like, it absolutely reeks to me of the EFL making all of the checks and balances so that when there is a possibility of an independent football regulator testing out their powers, and now, you can get into the semantics of how long it's going to take and, look at Man City and et cetera and et cetera. I don't want any single delay on the process because there isn't a buyer out there at the minute. And if there is, they're going to have to show himself in the next 10 days. At this point in time, there isn't one out there. That's publicly known. But this is as close as you are going to get as the EFL coming out and saying, right, we've done absolutely everything, because what they are charging him with is you cannot prove where your money is coming from and you can't show us proof of funds for how you are going to run this football club on a more than week-to-week basis, let alone yearly. So actually, we've done everything now. It is now over to the independent football regulator, who will be given this bank of evidence of just that, the last 6 months, the file must be like up here type of thing. It's going to be, we've done absolutely everything within our power. It's got to go to you now. Now let's get this ball rolling and get this prick out of here. Just on that yesterday as well, James, sorry, just before you dive in, because I know you'll have a point on this. On that yesterday, there is somebody who got off scot-free yesterday. Amadou Pakshaw was in attendance yesterday. Got off absolutely scot-free. Criminal.
Yes, I did see that picture there. There was rumours that Dapon himself would be there, but that one
he won't come to a Wednesday game again. No chance.
Which is kind of says it in itself, doesn't it? Really,
yeah.
If you're not welcome at the club that you own, what are you even doing being there? Like, literally, we don't want you there at all. But no, when it comes to this, the embargoes, I think you bang right as well. Yeah, Matt's just put a point. Stink of a HR process to get rid of that one worker and making sure all your paperwork is in order. Yes, I think you're bang right. Like the EFL, for as much as people kind of don't like them and stuff, they have to kind of go through the processes, or else if they don't, Chancellor will come straight at him. He appeals everything. He appeals absolutely everything, even if it's 110% his fault, he'll still appeal it. So they've got to do things by the book, which I know is frustrating and it does take a long time for us. But let's not forget as well, the reason why we couldn't sign any players is because he had to put 12 months' wages money into a bank account and prove that to the EFL in order for him to lift that kind of restriction on the signings. He hasn't done that because we haven't made any signings. The only one that we did make, they had to literally, it was a charity donation by Manchester United. Other than that, and an emergency loan, and even then they're only up until January. It's not even for the full season either. So it must have been from that point there where they've gone, they hadn't done it. So now it's obviously gone into, right, well, either they've gone straight to the next point, or they've gone down the route of, right, can you prove where your money's coming from? Can you prove that you can, that you can actually sustain this football club? Can you prove that you can actually run this football club? And do you know what as well? It just highlights, and I've said many a time on this podcast about how we are hand to mouth with everything that we do. The fact that, the season tickets go on sale when they do just kind of screams that. The fact that then it's cash only. Again, another like massive red flag. It's because the merchant, there's issues with World Pay or whatever. Absolute utter bollocks. And clearly, he hasn't got a plan. He hasn't got a cash flow problems. Well, yeah, because you've had cash flow problems for God knows how long. You've just managed to get around it in whatever way, shape, or form you have. Whereas now, clearly that you've got to say he's been lucky. he's been lucky every single time that he's managed to get the money just in time. You know, probably the reason why there hasn't been any transfer funds in January because he hasn't got any money to actually to spend on them. He might have, you know, gold, you know, the exchange rate on gold is, you know, has gone down on stock markets or whatever. Oh shit, I've £2 million down now. I'm not going to be able to afford to sign a player or whatever it may be. Like, you know, he's. Yeah, it just highlights what we probably all thought, or most of us thought beforehand, that he's just obviously scrabbling around for all the pounds that he can, but he just hasn't got it at all, and that's why the wage bill has been slashed massively to try and so he can hold on. It just comes back to that why. It really does. And you know what? When this is all over, I really hope that it all comes out in the wash. I really hope that everything comes out as a reason as to why he's done what he's done, and just held accountable for it. I hope it doesn't just get forgotten about when he's gone, because it's just ridiculous.
And I think the other thing is here, James, as well, is it is important to remember that, yeah, it's a fantastic day yesterday for the players, for the staff, for the fans, for the people who work in the club shop, for Doris, for everybody who is connected to, have you ever met her, by the way, Doris? No, sadly not yet. Sadly not. Keep going. The S&C coaches, the people who are there, you know, your bread and butter staff. That result is in spite of the ownership and in spite of his advisor and in spite of the people who have helped facilitate this person at the top end of the club. To me, it just, again, James, I know in terms of like just bringing the point to a close, the well has run dry. To be fair to him, the EFL have given him every single opportunity to dig his way out of this hole. But
because they don't want this either.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
I agree. Through sheer stubbornness, through sheer arrogance, he has just gone, no, you're going to dance to my tune. I don't need to prove this to you. And he's been like this consistently since he's been here. And actually, just because we have got this result at Portsmouth, I do think this is a very important thing to say. And again, I'm aware that I am a season ticket holder. So like people will make the argument, oh, well, even if you're a season ticket holder, you shouldn't go. I understand where people are coming from with that. It's not something I personally agree with because I've already paid my money from fucking January and that was spent on Ibrahim Sissoko's left laces, which he never actually fucking touched the ball with. My point with it all is, this shouldn't just because results on the pitch pick up. It shouldn't then see that mass influx. And I don't want to tell people how to support the football club. And ultimately, I'm not going to be somebody who does that and gets on a perch and all the rest of it. However, continue to back the protest movement, continue to speak up, continue to be vocal against this ownership, continue until he is gone. Because what we have is a bank of evidence from the last 8 years that if we as a fan base let him get off the hook in any way, shape or form with this, we are going to end up exactly in the same situation in 12 months' time. The only difference is we're going to be staring League Two in the face, not League One.
And you know what? I pick up on that line that he said. It's in spite of him, not because of him. Do you know what I mean? He's done absolutely nothing to contribute to that 2-0 win yesterday. That was the players going out there and Henrik Pedersen just, you know, turning water into wine. Yeah. And the players sticking together, putting a plan in place and just, you know, coming away with the 3 points. It is not going to be plain sailing. We're still probably going to get relegated, no doubt. We've got some dark times ahead of us. We've got some, you know, Christmas is coming up and it's a festive period is relentless and we haven't got the squad big enough to even deal with that. Yes, we found some great players at the moment in Ernie Weaver and George Brown, and I really hope that they do kick on and they'll probably get sold in January anyway to kind of fund this. You know, so I'm sure Dapon's licking his lips, but yeah, let's keep everything up. Let's keep the protests up. It doesn't change anything whatsoever. If anything, all it does do is bring together the players and the fans even more so than what it already has done. So I think that, you know, that is one thing that has really flourished in if there's one benefit from it all, it would be definitely that relationship between fans and the players as well. Right, we are going to wrap things up. If you want to carry on listening to myself and Matt, we will be talking about the different why we are kind of so different away from home, and also kind of continuing what we've just been talking about, really about does Dapon think he's doing a good job, and kind of how it doesn't change anything at all as well. So head over to patreon.com/WTRD pod, sign up to the North Stand tier, and you'll find a link on there to watch that show. We'll be live in about 10 minutes time. But thank you very much everyone for joining us. Do really appreciate it as always, and we'll see you all next time. Cheers.